Welcome to Just Say This, the place to get all the help you need for the birds and bees talks. I'm your host, Amy Lang. Just a quick reminder, this show is for grown-ups because I'll be swearing. There'll be lots of swears, and then I'll also be talking about grown-up sex. I can guarantee that your kids do not want to listen to this, and they really don't want to listen to it with you. You've been warned. Do you have a question for me? Please give me a call. The phone number is 206-926-1522, 206-926-1522, and I will answer on the show. And if you have a funny sex talk story, please call in those as well, 206-926-1522. Thanks. Hello from hot Seattle. It's weird here because we're having super hot and we're all a bunch of weenies about it. Anyway, hi. Hey, as you may know, my new book, Sex Talks with Tweens, is out and about. You can get it in a bunch of different places, all the usual places. If you buy it at Amazon, will you please review it? Because that's how it stays up high in the rankings. And I know they're the devil, but anyway, they're the devil that we unfortunately sort of need, we little authors. But more fun than that, I'm having an online virtual book launch on October 18th from 5 until 7 p.m. in the Pacific times, and I would love it if you would go. There's a link, or come. There's a link to it in the show notes, and the easiest way to keep up with that and get information about it is to go to birdsandbeesandkids.com. If you haven't already, click on the freebie thingy up in the right-hand corner, and that'll put you on my newsletter list, and then you'll get a couple of really helpful handouts. So anyway, I'm going to be giving away free stuff. Books, quickies, books for kids. I have some really hilarious and terrible ones, and I have some really good ones. And then a superstar combo pack of a book, Solution Center, books for kids, quickies, that kind of thing. So I hope you can make it. It should be really fun. And it'll be virtual. And I'm probably not going to record it because I'm so fucking sick of recording shit. And yeah, that's it. So please, please, please join me. It will be a good time. I promise. And speaking of books, I have a new one that I just got from the series that is called A Kid's Company. And they write books that are about different topics for kids, and it's called A Kid's Book About Body Hair, and I really love it. They wrote it in conjunction with Billy, which they provide body hair removal products, and it's simple, it's lovely, it's inclusive, it is really very clear that you don't need to remove your body hair, and this might lead me into a little rant that I probably had before, but I believe that adults should keep their hair on if they've got kids around, so they can see what a natural body looks like. And I got some really, if you get my newsletter, you saw I just wrote a big thing about it. But I think it's just so important for kids to see pubic hair where it belongs, because as it grows in for them, our culture, they're going to think they're weird because our culture tells them to remove their hair. And if you have, especially if you're a person with a vulva, if you're running around hairless and your daughter sees that you're hairless, she's going to maybe make some decisions about her own body. And the pubic hair is there for a reason. It offers padding. It offers some protection from STIs. And frankly, actually, just hang on a minute. I got an email from a nurse talking about this, a person who's a down there person, a medical care provider that is looking at a bunch of crotches all day long. And she had some things to say that I think you should hear. So just give me a minute. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm not going to reveal who she is, and she doesn't know I'm doing this, so I will probably tell her, and my guess is she won't give two fat fucks. Anyway, this is what she says. And my title of my newsletter and my blog, you can go find it on my blog, is Los Pubes, to Remove or Not Remove. And this is what she said. Hallelujah. Working in sexual health, we see depressingly few pubes, and it feels like a very lonely one-woman campaign I'm waging to educate women, or all kinds, about the increased risk of STI, of being bald, how scarred vulvas become after years of removal, puke, and where it's come from. 20% of men responding to adolescent girls when you put one of those penis engorgement measure things on, and it being easier for porn cameras to see penetration. Women are totally unaware of any of it, and depressingly, this includes some young women who otherwise present as pretty aware of gender equality, body positivity, etc. issues, as well as all the ones currently stretching their lip skin with fillers and barely able to see out from under huge eyelash extensions, which is all very prevalent. Hollywood also has a huge responsibility, I think. Every rom-com has some, oh, but I can't go on that date, I'm not waxed moment that has had an appallingly normalizing effect and has brought in the women who aren't influenced so directly by porn. There are still some of them. So thank you for trying to get this message out, but God knows how we spread it more widely. Crying emoji face. And then she signed her name. So, hi, there you go. She said it better than me. Scarring? Who wants that? You want your child to appreciate her body and her fur. Anyway, check out this book, kid's book about body hair. Just Google it. You'll find it. And yeah, so there's my semi-annual pubes rant. The thing that grosses me out the most about it is that pubic hair-free vulvas look like a child's vulva. I don't know why anyone would find that attractive. That is just me. As you can, I'll send a picture of my just kidding. Anyway, so I did that one time. It was just weird, and Carrie did not appreciate it. So I've never done it again. Also itchy. Okay, and don't forget that our people who have penises are taking it all off as well because of porn. So you need to let everybody know that pubic hair is natural, it's healthy, it's normal, it's there for a reason. And I know some of you know exactly what you're doing, and that's fine. It's your body, it's your choice, but influencing our kids in particular to do something that is not healthy for them ultimately is not a good idea. All right, I'm done with that rant. Anyway, on to questions. Please come to my virtual book launch. It's going to be fun. And what else? That's all. All right, happy end of summer. I don't know when this is going out. That's my lovely producer does that. It's all a surprise to me. Anyway, thank you. Happy end of summer. I hope all is well for you. And, there's no show without questions. So please, questions. Anything goes, as you know, because you're a listener. And also, thank you for being a listener. Okay, I'll shut up now. Bye.
Hi, Amy. My name is Erin, and I have a 9.5-year-old son, and I wanted to tell you our funny sex talk story. So I think it's a big parenting win, and I'm proud to share this story because I've been listening to your podcast, and I love it so much. You've really unpacked what's important to talk about and how to do it. I really appreciate that. So I bought the book Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, and I was telling my son that I bought him a couple books about sex, and I wanted to talk to him about it. We'd talked a few other times about things in the past, and I wanted to do that before school started again, so it's summertime right now. And I was kind of figuring out to myself, okay, when am I going to bring this up? And then luckily, last night, we were laying in bed saying goodnight, and he said, Mom, what's porn? And so I said, well, I'm glad you asked because I just was going to share this book with you. So we read the first chapter and we talked about it and about how people are without clothes on or online and all that kind of stuff. And after we were done, he said, I want to see it, Mom. I want to type in porn and see what happens. And I said, well, that's not appropriate. We just talked about that. But really his point was that he wanted to see the pictures and he was really excited about it. And I told him that, honey, I understand that. I know you're curious, and I was curious when I was little too. And I remember it being kind of interesting. And I said, let me think about this and I'll get back to you. And so luckily I have a really wonderful therapist, and I talked to her today, and she was like, ask him some more questions, like what exactly does he want to see? And so I'm going to do that next. And she recommended showing him, possibly depending on what he says, but maybe showing him some pictures of people in a loving embrace or something like that, that shows like a very positive take on sexuality. And I thought that was a great place to start. So thank you so much. And I also did have a question. My 9.5-year-old keeps hearing this moaning sound that sounds like it comes from pornography at school, and he thinks it's hilarious and he wants to replicate it. I have talked to him about it in the past and that it makes me really uncomfortable. And for a while, I think he got it enough. Like, I really did share some details about what that meant and how it's private and it makes other people uncomfortable. But he still now does it and he thinks it's funny, and I don't really know exactly what to do. I kind of just ignore him now, and sometimes I tell him that, gosh, that makes me really uncomfortable. I don't like it when you make that noise in front of me. It feels really private.
Look at you, superstar. You handled that beautifully. So go you. Sometimes I think kids can kind of smell when we've got something on our minds. Good pictures, bad pictures is in your house. Maybe he saw the book. Sounds like he's heard the word porn. We'll talk about the moaning in just a minute. And I just want to say, yeah, go, 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 you. You did a terrific job with that. And I love that your therapist, when he asked about seeing porn, which is definitely something that can happen. Obviously, you're talking about something, sounds really interesting. It's on the internet. We see everything on the internet. And some kids really just want to see it. And of course, the concern is that they will run around and Google when you're not around, which is why, say it with me, you need monitoring and filtering. And so I am really glad that the way you talked with him about it by saying, let me think about it. And I love that you have a terrific therapist. I agree that you should show him photographs of people in a loving, clothes-on embrace. And you should talk to him and say, porn is not for kids. I know good pictures, bad pictures is good, but it has a lot of words. I mean, so many words. There's another book called How to Talk to Kids About Pornography that is okay as well. It's got a lot of words. I haven't found a better book to talk to kids about porn. But anyway, a lot of words in good pictures. And so if you can read it again with him or read little sections with him, not today, not tomorrow, but just every once in a while to take off that mental load, because at the end of the day, he was probably fairly overwhelmed with it and needs to hear it again. And just that part about it is not safe or okay for kids to look at this because it can mess with their hearts and their minds and, ultimately, maybe their bodies. So yes, back to the long embrace. If you can find a video of that, that would be good. Or I don't know about the video thing. It just seems like a slippery slope. So there are sex books for kids that have pictures of people in cartoons like It's So Amazing and It's Perfectly Normal. People in a loving embrace that shows the sort of what sex looks like, but it's much safer to see it that way. So that's what I would do with that. On to the moaning question. Well, this is pretty flippin' easy. A, you just need to tell him that's the sound people can make when they're having sex, and it is 100% not okay for kids to make that noise. That's why you feel uncomfortable. That's why you want him to stop, and that should just take care of it. If this is happening at school, I would strongly recommend that you talk to the principal or whoever and let them know this is going on, and they might need a little help in how to nip it in the bud. So I would tell them what you've told your son, and I just need to find out what they're doing about it, because they don't know what they're doing, or they do know what they're doing. And yeah, ick. Right? Oh my God, I'm just imagining hearing a 9-year-old make those noises. It would not be a good thing. So just be straight up. People make those noises when they have sex. So you need to stop. All right. Thanks for your question. And again, congratulations. Job well done. Everybody, are you listening? Look at that. Look what they did. Super duper.
Hi, Amy. This is a mother of 2. My daughter is almost 14 and my son is almost 12. I'm currently watching and listening to the Birds and Bees Solution Center for Parents, the courses. And I also purchased the book, It's Perfectly Normal, Changing Bodies, Growing Up, Sex, and Sexual Health. And my question is, should we, me and my husband, read the book to our kids as a family, or should we read the book to one child at a time, or should one parent be in charge of sharing this book? Also, should I finish your course and then read the book? So that is my question. Again, thank you again for all that you do. I really appreciate your work. And it's wonderful to have people like you out there that can guide us through, these interesting years of our kids. So thank you very much.
First of all, thank you for being a member of my Birds and Bees Solution Center. If you don't know what that is, my sweet listener, it is my one-stop shop with videos and help and handouts and all kinds of fun things to help you figure out how to have these conversations. The other thing you get when you're a member is an hour of group coaching once a month. And then I teach very special topic, very specific topic webinars that are just for Solution Center members. So if you go in the show notes and click on links and stuff, there's a discount code too, so you can become a member. Okay, so to your question, it depends. So I'm going to answer, some of this depends on your kids and your family life and what's going on. So I don't know all the deets, but I will tell you this. Reading the books as a family with kids who are in puberty and in adolescence probably won't go over very well. They're old enough to be a little self-conscious about this. The 14-year-old may be thinking they know everything. The 12-year-old may think the same thing. I don't know if your kids have any developmental differences, so that might be at play as well. But generally speaking, they're not going to go for reading It's Perfectly Normal as a family group. One child at a time, yes, that probably makes the most sense. So read it with your 12-year-old and see if your 14-year-old will read it with you. If you're already reading to them, you're still reading to them, then I would definitely give this a try. And then as for who reads, it depends on your kids. If your 12-year-old's more comfortable with you when it comes to sort of emotional, social stuff, then read it with them. If your 14-year-old is more comfortable with their other parent, then same thing. And then it also depends on you. So if you're more comfortable than your spouse is, then you should be the one that does it all the time. They can try, but they will probably be weird. And so that can be okay as long as they're willing to acknowledge that. But sometimes, and in most families that have most heterosexual families, it's usually the mom's job. The kids are more willing to talk to the mom about this kind of stuff. I'm not quite sure what's up with that. Not every family, of course. Not every family, of course. And of course, if you're a single parent or two mom, two dad, whatever, those rules don't apply. So you're just going to need to kind of figure out, your kids, you can give it a try. Generally speaking, at this age, they do not want to have this kind of stuff read to them. But like I said, I don't know your family. I don't know your kids. So give it a try. A couple other books that I would recommend. My friend Joe Langford's books, Spare Me the Talk for Boys, Spare Me the Talk for Girls. Really good. And then he also has a book called The Pride Guide, which is for queer kids. So other book options would be a really good thing. And then if you haven't already been doing this, and I talk about this in the Solution Center, and you might not be there yet, turn up your radar in terms of finding opportunities in real life to talk to them. So you're watching a movie, you're watching a show, something happens, and you're like, oh, that was terrible. And later on, you can say, hey, that moment when, that person forced that other person to kiss them or whatever, that was really crappy. Here's why. So you can pop in information like that, listening to the news, listening to the world around you, overhearing conversations they're having. You can pick up little clues and use those, or little snippets, and then use those for sex talks. That tends to work better with, everyone, including you. And, you don't need to finish the course. You can pick and choose what you listen to, watch, or take part in. If you're feeling comfortable and confident enough, just do it. You'll get better and better at it. And remember, you're in charge of this. So if they don't want to hear it, you got to work it out and help figure out how you're going to get them to engage with you on some level with these conversations. And the other thing too that I'm just thinking of, I just did a interview thing, and I'm reminded of this, and now I've forgotten. How fun! What can I say about teenagers is that you can say to them, you don't have to respond to me. You don't have to say a word. I'm just going to say these things, and then we'll be done. They can't close their ears, and they need you. So show up for them, and don't forget, if you're late to the game, to apologize for being late to the game and talk about you're uncomfortable, you didn't know, blah, blah, all those things I say usually. So go you. Again, thanks for being a Solution Center member, and you've got this. So your kids, tread lightly. It'll be fine. Even if they hate you for it, they won't hate you for it forever. They'll thank you in the long run.
Hi, I have a question related to how to have the sex talk, but also how to address more than just sex and oral sex for a 6 years old. My daughter came to me. We have a great relationship, and she comes to me and say whatever she wants to talk about. She said that she learned about the F word, and I thought that maybe meant more of like like, oh, fuck. But she actually was starting to explain how it was related to your body. Her older cousin, who's 11, told her that the F word meant, and she started to describe with her body, leaking your vagina. I stayed calm and told her that I understood what she was talking about, that I knew about it, but that I needed to find the right way to explain that to her. So mommy was going to do some research about it. It's been a week, and I already heard her talking to someone else about it. So she definitely needs to hear more from me. And I'm looking for help, because fine having the sex talk and explaining, traditional or how babies are made. But I breaks my heart to take it to another level and talk to her about things that are much more intense and I don't know, almost, I feel like it's sad to me to have this conversation. It's not about, sex and making babies. It's much more complex. So, any tips will be appreciated.
Hey, thank you for your call. Yeah, this is really hard, and it is a little heartbreaking, especially when it's a big concept that she's talking about, and the 11-year-old having this information. Sure, it's not quite right. I got things to say. But yes, I agree with you. It is a little heartbreaking to need to take this on when your kiddo is 6. The good news is she's 6. So you can get some good info in her and maybe usurp, I think that's the word I want, what she's already learned. So first of all, kids hear the F word at 6. Mr. Milo Nestus came home from school, or we were walking home from school when he was about 6, and he said, "Hey, what does the word fuck mean?" And I said, "Oh, that's fuck." I said, "Where did you see it?" And he said, it was written underneath the slide at school. So we just talked about that it's a kind of an ugly way to talk about sex. And, in my head, I'm thinking, you've heard that word every single day of your life, child. How come now you're finally asking what it means? Anyway, so I told him that and made it really simple and kept it, just kid-friendly. I did not give him a little English lesson and talk about how it's also an adjective, an adverb. What else is there? A verb, a noun. Anyway, it's not a noun. But anyway, so it is okay for your 6-year-old to know what the word fuck really means. And so that's one correction I would make. And so I would tell her that really simply. And the next thing, with the older cousin, my guess is, of course, she's been porn exposed, and the fact that she was sort of moving her body and I don't know if she was demonstrating on your daughter, hopefully not. Sorry to freak you out with that. But when she said it meant licking the vagina, that's kind of either hand-me-down information or maybe she's seen that. So yeah, that is a lot of information for a 6-year-old. But the thing you need to remember is that she's 6 and she's not able to contextualize that as a full-on sex act like we are. We know what that is, right? For her, it's just this weird thing of licking a vagina. It sounds like she knows about sex and baby making. So you fortunately, just added this other element. I'm really thrilled to hear that you stayed calm. I love that you said that you would, find out more how to talk about this. And I do need to apologize to you. You left your message in April. I hope you're hearing this now and I hope I've been helpful in some other way. So I don't know why it just showed up, but it did. Welcome to me, frankly. Anyway, so you did a really great job with it all, as it stands. And then the other, of course, problem is that she's talking with other people about it. And for obvious reasons, that sure as hell needs to stop. Part of the reason it needs to stop is you don't want your kiddo to be the kiddo that's running around telling everybody what fuck means. And it also is not quite accurate exactly what she's telling kids. The other reason is that it's actually a kind of a safety issue, because if a creepster overhears your 6-year-old using that kind of language, it could put her on their radar because she has some kind of adult-like sexualized lingo in her life. Just don't want to terrify you. Just got to tell you that. So what I would do with her now is I would reiterate, this is a grown-up word, and I would talk to her and say, you know what, it's not okay for you to tell other kids about this word. It's a word that has to do with sex. And so, the rule in our family is that you can talk about sexual stuff with us. And of course, you won't be in trouble, but people feel uncomfortable when they hear the kids using those words. Frankly, you could get in trouble for telling other kids, and then reassure her that she's not in trouble with you. She didn't know. She's 6, right? So do that. The other piece you need to manage is this idea of licking the vagina. And yes, that's sex, right? So I would tell her that when people have sex and agree to have sex, they do all kinds of different things, and that can include licking private parts. And I hear myself say this, and I don't want you to say that to your kid. Frankly, I'm kind of stumped. I think that you could also tell her that talking about licking vaginas is just not okay to talk about. That's not a kid thing, and people feel uncomfortable, and not give it the details like I just did. I would do that. And for those of you who've had a quickie consultation with me, that's how this goes, right? I say, do this and then do that. Anyway, so I would tell her that, like, talking about licking vaginas is not okay. People can feel really uncomfortable. I would tell her that you could tell her, actually, I'm just going to go back and forth here, that you could tell her that when people are older and they're in romantic relationships and they decide to do sexual things with each other, there are all different kinds of things that they can do. And holding hands, kissing, rubbing bodies, but it's definitely not for kids and later in life. So you could go that far. Now, I'm certain there are people who are not agreeing with me on multiple levels in multiple directions, but this is a tough one, right? We don't want to shame her. You don't want to, set her up to think that she's in trouble or that you won't talk about these things, but also licking vaginas. I don't know. I'm having a thing here. So y'all do what you're going to do. I hope this is helpful. Meanwhile, back at the 11-year-old, absolutely have to tell this kid's parents or whoever takes care of them that they're talking about this, that they're telling people about it, that it sounds like they were probably porn exposed, or maybe somebody has done that with them. So as a safe and trustworthy adult, it is your responsibility to let adults know when a child is doing something that is clearly not safe, not okay. And yeah, sure, an 11-year-old would know about licking vaginas, but they shouldn't be talking like that about it to 6-year-olds or kind of anyone, because they can get in trouble. So please, please, please make sure that kiddo's parent or parents knows what's up with them. Okay, I said a lot of words there and I got a little confused, but it's confusing. I'm not perfect. And thanks for listening, and go ahead and pick what you will out of all those things I just said. That's it for this week. Thanks to everyone who's been calling in. The number's 206-926-1522, so please leave me a message if you have a question or a tale from the trenches. And thank you to Melanie Smith, my producer, and to Rolf, who wrote the Birds and Bees and Kids theme song.